Released on the 2nd of August, 1996, Matilda follows a neglected 6-year-old genius who teaches herself to read chapter books before kindergarten, discovers she can move objects with her mind, and uses both to take down her con artist parents and the terrifying headmistress running her school like a prison camp. Based on Roald Dahl's 1988 novel and directed by its own co-star Danny DeVito, the film opened in 3rd place behind Independence Day and A Time to Kill, grossing $33.5 million domestically against a $36 million budget, a genuine box office bomb. Home video did what theaters couldn't. 30 years later, Matilda is one of the most rewatched comfort films of its decade. So where did they all end up? Mara Wilson plays Matilda Wormwood, the book-devouring 6-year-old at the center of the story, ignored by her parents, tormented by her headmistress, and slowly discovering she can move the physical world with nothing but focus and anger. Wilson was 9 during filming and already one of the most in-demand child actresses in Hollywood. Mara Elizabeth Wilson was born on the 24th of July, 1987, in Burbank, California, the 4th of 5 children of school volunteer Susie Wilson and KTLA broadcast engineer Mike Wilson, raised in a household that blended her mother's Judaism with her father's Irish Catholic background. She started out modeling and doing television commercials, then broke through as Natalie Hillard in 1993's Mrs. Doubtfire, followed by the TV movie Time to Heal and Susan Walker in the 1994 remake of Miracle on 34th Street opposite Richard Attenborough. She'd grown up hearing her mother read Matilda aloud to a classroom of schoolchildren and specifically asked to audition when the adaptation crossed her path, telling her mother it was the best script she'd ever read. Partway through filming, Susie Wilson was diagnosed with breast cancer. Mara finished the movie anyway, looked after, by her own account, like family by her on-screen parents, DeVito and Rhea Perlman. Susie Wilson died on the 26th of April, 1996, roughly 3 months before the film reached theaters, while it was still being finished in post-production. After Matilda, Mara Wilson appeared in A Simple Wish, 1997, and Thomas and the Magic Railroad, 2000, the latter a critical and commercial disaster that effectively ended her film career. She said that losing her mother during Matilda's production left her completely unmoored, uncertain who she was outside the character everyone expected her to be. She's since made peace with the strangeness of that legacy. At 13, she stepped back from acting almost entirely to finish school, graduating from the Idlewild Arts Academy in 2005 and NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. She built a second career as a writer instead, a one-woman off-Broadway show called Weren't You That Girl, the play Sheeple at the New York International Fringe Festival, and the 2016 memoir Where Am I Now? True Stories of Girlhood and Accidental Fame. In a 2021 New York Times op-ed, she wrote about being sexualized by adults as a child, drawing a hard line between fan letters from 10-year-olds and fan letters from 50-year-old men. In 2017, she'd written a widely shared essay in Teen Vogue defending Stranger Things star Millie Bobby Brown against similar treatment. She came out as bisexual in 2016 and received the American Humanist Association's LGBTQ Humanist Award in 2019. She's returned to acting only selectively since voicing Jill Pill on BoJack Horseman and Liv and Diane Amara on Big Hero 6, the series, and has built a parallel career as an audiobook narrator, winning an Earphones Award for her narration of the novel Scorched Grace. Wilson discussed her childhood fame at length in the 2020 HBO documentary Showbiz Kids. She's joked that her curiosity and love of research comes from being half Jewish, half engineer. She lives in New York City and still publishes a personal newsletter. She is 38 years old as of March 2026. Danny DeVito plays Harry Wormwood, Matilda's crooked, willfully ignorant used car salesman of a father, a man who calls his son the smart one and his daughter a liar to her face. DeVito also directed the film and narrates it, which means he's simultaneously the story's villain and the voice guiding the audience through it, one of the stranger dual casting choices in a family film, and one he's never fully explained beyond simply wanting the job done right. Daniel Michael DeVito Jr. was born on the 17th of November 1944 in Neptune, New Jersey to Italian-American parents. His father ran a dry cleaner, a diner, and a pool hall in nearby Asbury Park. After grammar school and prep school, he took an unlikely first job as a cosmetician at his sister's beauty salon, then enrolled at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts to learn more about the trade, and fell in love with acting instead. He built a New York stage career and reprised his off-Broadway role as Martini in the 1975 film Of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. 3 years later, he became a household name as taxi dispatcher Louis De Palma on Taxi, winning an Emmy and a Golden Globe. Through the 1980s, he built one of the most reliable character-actor resumes in Hollywood. Terms of Endearment, Romancing the Stone, Twins opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger, Throw Mama from the Train, which he also directed, before reuniting with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner for The War of the Roses in 1989, and playing the Penguin in Tim Burton's Batman Returns in 1992. When it came time to make Matilda, DeVito was pursuing rights that most of Hollywood also wanted. Roald Dahl's widow, Felicity Dahl, chose him specifically because of his evident love for the books. After Matilda, Danny DeVito kept working at a pace most actors half his age can't sustain, and kept gravitating toward exactly the kind of family films that had drawn him to Matilda in the first place. He said he took voice roles in My Little Pony and Hercules specifically so his children could hear him in them, and later did the same with The Lorax and Migration for his grandchildren. He's played the volatile bar owner Frank Reynolds on the sitcom It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia since 2006. The show entered its 18th season in 2026, while continuing a steady film career that includes LA Confidential, Big Fish, Owen Wilson's Haunted Mansion in 2023, and 2024's Pullman, the directorial debut of actor Chris Pine. And in October 2025, he hosted a 30th anniversary Matilda in concert screening at London's Royal Albert Hall, with the Royal Philharmonic performing the score live. He is 81 years old as of May 2026, with an estimated net worth of $80 million, and shows no sign of slowing down. Rhea Perlman plays Zinnia Wormwood, Matilda's bingo-obsessed, hair-dye-addicted mother, a woman so consumed by her own vanity and boredom that she genuinely doesn't register her daughter as a genius. It's a broadly comic performance, but there's a layer underneath it that the film's original audience mostly missed. Perlman was married in real life to the man playing her on-screen husband, which makes their bickering, oblivious screen marriage a strange kind of home movie. Rhea Jo Perlman was born on the 31st of March, 1948, in Coney Island, Brooklyn, to a Polish immigrant doll parts factory manager and a bookkeeper. She studied drama at Hunter College, worked off-Broadway through the early 1970s, and met Danny DeVito in 1971 at a play. The two moved in together 2 weeks later. A recurring role as Louis De Palma's girlfriend on Taxi caught the attention of Cheers producers, who cast her as barmaid Carla Tortelli in 1982, the same year she and DeVito married. Over 11 seasons, Perlman was nominated for 10 Emmy Awards, winning 4, and earned a then record number of Golden Globe nominations for the role, becoming the single most decorated cast member on a show that itself won 20 Emmys. After Matilda, Rhea Perlman continued working steadily. 10 Items or Less, The Sessions, and a widely praised turn as Mattel founder Ruth Handler in 2023's Barbie. She also became a published author, writing the 6-book Auto Undercover children's series. Titles include Born to Drive and Canyon Catastrophe, and picked up guest roles on Star Wars, The Bad Batch, The Mindy Project, and a 2025 episode of Poker Face. Her cousin, Randall Miller, is a film director, and her younger sister, Haida, followed her into the industry as a writer and producer on Cheers itself. Her marriage to DeVito took a more complicated path than her career. The couple separated in October 2012 after 30 years together, briefly reconciled, then separated again for good in March 2017. They never divorced. Danny and I, we are still married, Perlman said on a 2023 podcast. We are still very good friends, and we see each other a lot. DeVito has echoed the sentiment, telling reporters that despite living apart, we are together in a lot of ways and remain a tight family, sharing birthdays, grandchildren, and the occasional red carpet with their 3 children, Lucy, Grace, and Jake. She turned 78 in March 2026. Embeth Davidtz plays Miss Honey, Matilda's teacher, the one adult in the film who actually sees her, and the emotional counterweight to every cruel authority figure around her. It's the role Davidtz remains best known for, even measured against a resume that includes one of the most acclaimed dramas ever made. Embeth Jean Davidtz was born on the 11th of August, 1965, in Lafayette, Indiana, while her South African father was studying chemical engineering at Purdue. The family later returned to South Africa when she was 9. She trained at Rhodes University, made her professional stage debut at 21 as Juliet in Cape Town, and won a Dalro Award, South African theater's equivalent of the Tony, for a 1990 stage production, before moving to Los Angeles in the early 1990s, landing an early American role in Sam Raimi's cult horror comedy Army of Darkness. Steven Spielberg then cast her as Helen Hirsch in Schindler's List in 1993, a performance that made her a name to watch. She's since said that taking Matilda meant turning down the lead in Todd Haynes' Safe, the role that went to Julianne Moore and became one of the defining performances of the 1990s. After Matilda, Matilda, Embeth Davidtz built a long, deliberately varied career. Bridget Jones's Diary, 13 Ghosts, Junebug Fracture, the sci-fi drama Europa Report, and Mary Parker in Mark Webb's amazing Spider-Man films. She survived breast cancer around 2016, an experience she's discussed publicly since. In 2024, at 59, she made her directorial debut with Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight, an adaptation of Alexandra Fuller's memoir about growing up on a farm in Rhodesia during its Civil War. The film premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in what critics called one of the strongest years on record for actress-turned-director debuts, was released theatrically by Sony Pictures Classics, and is now streaming on Netflix. Davidtz has called directing more fulfilling than acting ever was. At 60 years old, this feels like an enormous privilege to be able to do it. She has been married to Jason Sloan since 2002. Pam Ferris plays Miss Trunchbull, the hammer-throwing former Olympian-turned-headmistress who runs Cruncham Hall like a prison camp and locks disobedient children in a spiked closet called the Choke. It's one of the great villain performances in a family film. Pamela Ferris was born on the 11th of May, 1948, in Hanover, Germany, to Welsh parents while her father served with the Royal Air Force. The family returned to Wales, where she grew up near Bridgend, the daughter of a policeman and a bakery worker. She married actor Roger Frost in 1986, telling The Guardian she didn't marry until 38 because she'd been obsessed with work in her younger years. By the mid-1990s, she was already a fixture of British costume drama, with roles in television adaptations of Middlemarch, Our Mutual Friend, The Turn of the Screw, and Jane Eyre. Matilda was her American film debut, shot in a form-fitting muscle suit with a whiskered chin and greased-down hair. She said she revels in the dangerous edge stuff that Dahl wrote, relishing the way audiences can never quite decide whether to laugh at Trunchbull or be frightened of her. After Matilda, Pam Ferris built one of the busiest resumes in British character acting. Peggy Snow in Where the Heart Is, the amateur sleuth gardener in Rosemary and Thyme, a motherly activist in the acclaimed 2006 dystopian thriller Children of Men, and Aunt Marge in 2004's Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. She earned an Olivier Award nomination for a 2007 revival of The Entertainer at London's Old Vic, and played Mrs. General in the BBC's Little Dorrit the following year. From 2009 to 2010, she had a recurring role in the final series of Gavin and Stacey, and from 2012 to 2016, she played Sister Evangelina on Call the Midwife, leaving the show when production moved farther from her Kent home and the daily commute became unsustainable. Her character's exit was written as a fatal stroke. She played Mrs. Bevan in the Christmas comedies Nativity, 2009, and Nativity 2, Danger in the Manger, 2012, later appeared in Tolkien, 2019. She lives in Elm, Kent, with her husband and 2 dogs, and serves as an ambassador for the animal welfare charity Blue Cross. She turned 78 in May 2026. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. We release new videos every week. Kiami Davale plays Lavender, Matilda's loyal, mischievous best friend and partner in low-grade rebellion, the one kid at Cruncham Hall just as fed up with Trunchbull as Matilda is. It was Davale's acting debut, and at a time when black actresses were rarely cast in major roles in mainstream family films, her casting happened almost by accident. Kiami Davale was born on the 21st of August, 1986, in Boyle County, Kentucky, and her family relocated to California to pursue her acting career after she showed an early interest in dance and singing lessons as a child. After Matilda, Kiami Davale appeared in guest roles on Moesha as Anna, The Steve Harvey Show as Christina, In the House, and The Pretender as Simone Bien-Aimé, with her last theatrically released film role coming in 2000's Bruno, directed by Shirley MacLaine. She shifted her focus toward modeling, singing, songwriting, and screenwriting. She wrote her first film, Reckless, in 2012. She's directed and produced theater, taught acting classes to young performers, and volunteered extensively through Delta Sigma Theta. She's also stayed close with Mara Wilson over the decades, reuniting publicly in 2013 and again in 2015 for what Davale called a reunion with her sis from another miss. She is 39 years old as of May 2026. Jimmy Cars plays Bruce Bogtrotter, the boy forced by Miss Trunchbull to eat an entire chocolate cake in front of the whole school as punishment for stealing a slice. In what's probably the single most quoted sequence in the film, it was Cars' first ever audition and his acting debut at 12 years old. Jimmy Cars was born on the 26th of July, 1984, in Los Angeles County. The cake scene, he said, took roughly 3 weeks to shoot, and continuity required the crew to repaint chocolate chocolate onto the exact same shirt every single day of filming. After Matilda, Jimmy Cars appeared in a 1998 episode of ER and played the studliest kid at Bar Mitzvah in Adam Sandler's The Wedding Singer that same year, before retiring from acting. He went back to school to study biochemistry and graduated from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine in 2017, drawn to osteopathic medicine's emphasis on treating the whole patient rather than just the symptom. He's now a practicing doctor and reunited with the Matilda cast in 2013 for an anniversary tea party where he good-naturedly recreated the cake scene one more time for the cameras, this time, presumably, without 3 weeks of chocolate-scented wardrobe. He is 41 years old as of May 2026. Brian Levinson plays Michael Wormwood, Matilda's older brother, the one member of the family whose only real function is to underline exactly how alone Matilda is inside her own house. His signature insult for his sister, Dip Face, is doing a lot of heavy lifting for a two-word line. Brian Matthew Levinson was born on the 27th of October, 1982, in Los Angeles County, and had already appeared in small roles in Predator 2 and a guest spot on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air before landing Matilda. After Matilda, Brian Levinson added one more credit, a season 9 episode of Seinfeld in 1997, before retiring from acting entirely. He studied at ITT Technical Institute in San Diego, and today is CEO of Levinson Group Events and Promotions. He is 43 years old as of May 2026. Paul Reubens plays FBI agent Bob, one of 2 federal agents investigating Harry Wormwood's stolen car operation, a small supporting role that amounts to maybe 5 minutes of total screen time. It's easy to miss just how famous the man wearing that suit actually was. Paul Reubens was born Paul Rubenfeld on the 27th of August, 1952 in Peekskill, New York, and raised largely in Sarasota, Florida, the son of lamp store owners Milton and Judy Rubenfeld. He first built a following in the late 1970s with 14 appearances on the game show The Gong Show, including a recurring 2-person act called The Hilarious Betty and Eddie. He then joined the Groundlings improv troupe in Los Angeles after a failed Saturday Night Live audition he thought had ended his career before it started, and developed the character of Pee Wee Herman there in a 1978 improvisation exercise alongside fellow Groundling Phil Hartman. The Pee Wee Herman Show became a cult stage sensation, then an HBO special, then, with Tim Burton directing, the 1985 hit film Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Pee Wee's Playhouse ran on CBS from 1986 to 1991. Then, in 1991, Reubens was arrested for indecent exposure at an adult movie theater in Sarasota. The arrest ended Pee Wee's Playhouse and effectively exiled the character for nearly 2 decades. After Matilda, Paul Reubens continued working steadily in film and television. 30 Rock, The Blacklist, Portlandia, What We Do in the Shadows, and the crime drama Blow. A second arrest in 2002 on a misdemeanor obscenity charge tied to his private collection of erotica required him to register with authorities and limit his contact with children for years afterward. On the 30th of July 2023, Paul Reubens died at 70. He had been fighting cancer privately for 6 years, a diagnosis he'd kept from almost everyone, including most of his own friends and colleagues. Matilda lost money in its original theatrical run, and it's since become one of those rare box office bombs that everybody actually saw. Home video did what theaters couldn't, and 30 years on, the film has outgrown its own budget report by a country mile, a hit Broadway musical, a Netflix adaptation of that musical, and sold out 4K theatrical screenings still drawing crowds. Looking at where this cast ended up, it's hard not to notice the same thing about them. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest Where Are They Now videos exploring your favorite casts from the past.